Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another installment of disGRUNTled. Jason and I are here with you today. And I think that we are going to just have a very casual, hopefully animated conversation just about the goings-ons around the country, around town, I was going to say. Jason, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this whole riot situation in LA and the president calling in troops, calling in National Guardsmen, and apparently the Marines are waiting. At the time of this recording, the Marines are waiting in the wings. By the time somebody watches this, they may have already went in and cleaned house or whatever they're going to do. What say you about this? Because a lot of people are talking about how this is just it's a complete disaster, a complete misuse of the military and all these other things. I have my thoughts. I was wondering what yours might be.
Well, I mean, California has such a good track record of controlling things before they get out of control. You know, the 92 riots, they were mostly peaceful. They've had other wonderful events that have gone off just smashingly well. I mean, the fact that they think they can handle things on their own is clearly proven by their track record.
I would agree. I mean, we saw that with the fires, right? When LA burned down a few months ago.
These people can't control a bowel movement. I don't think they have the capability of utilizing the sphincter muscle controls necessary to shit when they want to shit. And I'm done thinking otherwise, because there's a great book out there and it's called Left of Bang. Have you ever read it?
I have not, but you've mentioned it many times.
Wonderful book. And it's everything that you can do left of bang to stop living right of bang. And it's a great theory in life, you know, do all the things that you need to do before the event happens that then you have to recover from. So the fact that Trump would send in or activate troops because clearly the state didn't want to do so means he's being proactive to put things in place should this rise to an occasion where it needs it. Because we here in Minnesota have watched this shit show. You know, we got to watch it in our backyard. And I think one of the things that I remember so clearly about what happened in Minneapolis was the fact that the coverage outside of our state was so grossly diminished. What people understood that was happening in Minneapolis was not what was happening on the ground. And now I'm seeing it on my wonderful news source, the iFunny. And what I see on iFunny, I know is only the tip of the spear. There is no way on this planet that anybody would want to activate guard troops or active Marines should they not be possibly necessity driven.
Right.
Period.
So I was thinking about that too. Like, did these people think that the president is just saying, well, I got a bigger wiener than everyone else, so I'm going to show everyone and I'm just going to send the National Guard just blatantly out of the blue? We may not need them,
Right.
but maybe we will. So I'm just going to flex my muscles and just send them anyway to show them that we mean business. And I think that that's just a completely ridiculous thought.
He probably thinks old New Scum is hanging out at the French Laundry or whatever that shithole was that he went to eat at during COVID when, you know, he told all of you fuckers, go sit at home with a mask on and watch your loved ones die through a window. You know, he's probably sitting there watching some dude rail on his old lady. And I'm sure Trump was like, he's busy watching his wife get plowed. Let's go send some people to go clean this up. It's absolutely ludicrous on its face when you hear these people talk. I mean, I saw a 30-second or maybe it was a 20-second clip of Newsom talking about the situation. And it reminds me of that meme or the like any sitcom you've ever watched for the entire fucking scenery is on fire behind them. They're like, everything's fine. I don't understand what's going on. You know, is his wife going to talk about it like Walz's wife did? You know, during those riots, the burning smell, how that awakened them. You start burning shit in my neighborhood? I mean, these are the people that have been elected to take care of you, and these are the dipshits making the big calls. It is time for people to start paying attention to who the fuck you vote for, because this is the bullshit you get.
Well, I think that you're absolutely right.
And they're worried about money? How many billions of dollars are they in the shitter with healthcare for illegals? And they're worried about spending, well, I don't know, 10, 12, 20, $50 million to have some security. in a state that can't get fucking insurance because it's run so fucking poorly? Like this is your fucking concern. It's not the fact that the police are being fucking destroyed by scooters being chucked off of overpasses using fucking fireworks like mortar tubes, launching them into fucking groups of police officers and federal fucking enforcement agents. You're fucking worried about the money it's going to cost and the training that might be missed out on? You have lost your fucking minds. Period.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't even want to admit that there's anything going on that's going to hurt the community. The narrative that is spun is that Trump's just out to separate families, kill people, and all this other bullshit. Not really what the actual problem is. And in my opinion, the problem is that we are allowing people who maybe they're immigrants, maybe they're not, to shit all over the American flag and shit all over this country, but they don't want to go back to theirs. So what?
But while they're being chased, while they're being found, they're destroying the country that they want to be in, and people want them to be here, waving the Mexican flag while they're torching shit. Like what kind of?
And when you tell them go back to Mexico if you hate it here and you're flying a Mexican flag, they're going to say, "Well, this used to be Mexico. This was our land way back when."
Great, okay. Used to.
Not while your great grandparents were alive. So it's stupid.
That fucking argument is done. I'm done. You know what?
But this is the justification they're using
for all this justification. Madness. Fine. Okay, cool. I'm going to go find out some shit that your parents used to own. Maybe they sold it or maybe they didn't. You need to say, fuck it. Oh, I'm taking my car back? No, your parents sold it. We bought that shit or took that shit. Whatever the case is, it's not yours anymore.
You're right.
The fact that we have to sit here, or we get to sit here, and I find the humor in it, but I can also feel my blood pressure kicking about 150 over 110 because they're going to talk again a bullshit narrative about how Big Daddy government is coming in and they're stepping all over our controls. These are the same people that didn't want us to have fucking gas dryers, didn't want us to have gas water heaters, didn't want us to have gas stoves. Because gas stoves, number one, they're fuel efficient. They take less therms to be used. So they want us on the electrical grid, whatever their driver is. But then I also saw one that said like the gas fumes inside of a house. When you burn your gas range and you're boiling noodles, you're creating some type of toxin that's killing your kids. Like at the same time, you're sucking fentanyl over the border by the fucking boatload, not giving two shits about it. You're putting that garbage in Skittles and every other piece of shit candy that we allow our kids to eat. You're not fucking worried about that. In Minnesota, we fucking changed how much lead we can have in our keys.
Yeah.
Because somehow there was a fucking kid sucking on a key that got tarted from it. I'm not buying it. Like if you're truly worried about something, you have to be worried about the things that you can change simply and easily. You can't die on narrative every day. These people live in a non-fiction, or they need to live in a non-fiction world. It's all fictitious bullshit. It's not our land. Fuck you, it's not our land. Go to any other place. Well, maybe Israel and Gaza. And there's some gray area there, apparently.
But it was their land when they were signing up for welfare. And they want these big tax returns. It's their land.
No. But let's stop right there because it's not a tax return if you didn't pay it in.
That's true. So, I mean, I don't know. And I guess we're kind of getting off track.
Fuck no. But this is why there's riots. And this is why the good people in this country sit here and we're just shaking our heads. I mean, we're like the Miller, Miller High Life commercials back in the day where, you just have a high life and you sit there and you watch that guy that just bought the boat, back his boat down the ramp and fail at it epically.
Yep. 10 times.
In America, we have been living high lifetime. And it's time to set the highlight down, sober up, and start getting these people off the ramp. They can't be running the show any longer. We need to wake up.
Yeah. Well, and it's very clear. I don't know if you saw the other day, but Maxine Waters was walking around in LA and like hyping up all these rioters and telling them to resist and all these other things.
What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was walking the streets and then she tried to break into a federal building where they were taking prisoners to make sure that these prisoners knew that their elected officials are standing with them.
So she pulled a Flavor Flav
Yeah.
in LA.
Mm-hmm.
While the pressure pot is building up, she's out there fanning the flames.
Just like she did here when after the George Floyd riots, but when that female police officer in Brooklyn Center shot the kid who had the gun and pulled away and blah blah blah, and she said she thought she was going for her taser. And she
Yeah, that
shot
was
the guy.
sad.
Well, she was here then. She came to Minnesota, to Minneapolis, and was walking the streets with her whole entourage, hyping up all these rioters and protesters. And it wasn't long after she was marching up and down the neighborhood that they were throwing Molotov cocktails and fireworks at the police in the inside of their parking lot and their holding area. She's just there to cause more problems and just build the fire. And so like she's probably one that exactly you're talking about. Like these are the fucking morons that will claim that we got to be peaceful. We got to do this peaceful. There has to be a solution. We got to just talk it out. And then you'll go out in the community and get all these people agitated even more. And then tell the rioters and the protesters the reason why we need to step up is so that they don't send more police and they don't send more, like they're going to scare the cops. And it's not going to happen.
Of police or military or federal agents care how big that group is.
No.
You know, all they want to do is go do their job, and then you make it tough. Oh, okay, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
You know, but these fluoride heads, they're like the kids in high school that were never directly involved in anything, but they stirred the pot and they got the shit stirred up. They got everybody mad at each other, and pretty soon it's 3:15 and you're fighting some dude you've never really talked to out in the parking lot over some shit that never really happened.
Or wasn't even a big deal.
It didn't mark anybody's timepiece.
Yeah, right.
They're just shitheads. They're just terrible people. They're people that don't understand. Well, actually, no, I take that back. They do understand what they do. And the fact that we want to sit there and give them free pass over free pass and not truly hold them accountable. I mean, these tar and feather. And if I know we're not going to go back to the great old days where you could actually throw tar on people and feather them, because I really think there'd be a bunch of them that get excited about it.
Well, actually, somebody called for Gavin Newsom to be tarred and feathered a couple days ago, or yesterday, maybe even.
Like, there's no way oil would stick to that grease ball, dude. No way.
You got to get it hot enough, maybe.
Yeah, well, maybe it'll hit that just for men just right and stick to his hair. Always quaff and shit. It's like, dude, your state has been literally on fire. Nothing. This stuff is happening, and he's out giving pressers why other people are failing. It's like, bitch, you know, it's just like hopping on a guy's boat that's got a hole in it, and you patch the hole, and you're like, "Hi, man, everything's good." Yeah. And then he pulls out his pistol and he shoots 2 more holes. Dumb fucker. Just let these people sink.
I would like to ask him, what is his measure of success with his time as governor, and see what that is. And like, maybe there is a chance he could separate the events that have happened in California under his leadership from politics, right? Just look at what's going on and what's happening to the people of your state.
Right.
And just leave the politics out of it. Just facts. And is that something that you're going to live out the rest of your days and go, yeah, I was at very best a decent governor?
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of the forests that are now clean. You don't have to worry about them burning for a few years. I mean, he's done a great job. You know, he has made it a state in which you have to be self-insured to have a home. I mean, that's nailed it.
Yeah. And to the best of my knowledge, they've only got like 15% of LA that burned down rebuilt. And I remember him and Mayor Bass, I think is her name, saying, "Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll have this place rebuilt by the end of summer. Don't worry, we're going to make it easy for people to get their permits and all that other shit." That
was the thing, though. They didn't say what summer. That was like when I deployed the first time. See what I would say? We're going home on Friday. Be like,
yeah.
And Friday would come. And be like, I didn't say this Friday.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
That was dirty. Dude, they're so dirty. And I don't care right or left. Like, none of it makes any sense to me.
Do you think that this is, I think I might know your answer, but do you think that this is a good use of National Guardsmen? Do you think it's... Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm done. I mean, it's not like you want to have a situation where the National Guard goes out and does something like this, but I don't care if it's this misnomer that the National Guard does these other things has been proven entirely inaccurate in the past 20 years.
What do you mean? What things?
What military units fought the war for the last 2 decades?
Oh, well, National
I
Guardsmen.
don't care what name you got. 100% reserve component was in the fight as much with the same up tempo as any active duty unit. Not all of them. Obviously there are some high tempo dudes out there, and hopefully you are checking in on us that seriously went and did it all the time on the regular. But as far as the up tempo is concerned, Guard and Reserves did the exact same thing. In fact, they relied on it far higher percentages than the active component was. So the idea that, the National Guard is just there if you have a flood or a tornado or they do all this. Well, if that were the case, then, 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year, my ass. That fucking hat don't fucking wear anymore. So if we're talking about utilizing forces, doesn't matter if it's active component or Guard or Reserves. In my mind, there is a clear line that's drawn in between those two, but it's transparent because one does the same thing as the other.
Yeah, and I would argue that the Guard and the reserve component soldiers in some cases had a pretty goddamn high op tempo. If you factor in that just out of the blue, not out of the blue, but just in the middle of your career or just in the middle of your education or just in the middle of your planning your wedding or you're about to have your child, all of a sudden, boom, you're uprooted to go serve and do your thing that you signed up to do. So you shouldn't be surprised to get called upon. But when it's over, now we got to go home and shit, I got to get back to work. I got kids to raise. I got, a business to run or whatever the case may be. Maybe you have ailing parent. I mean, everybody has those things, but it's not like reserve component soldiers are just chilling on the couch waiting for a flood to come in.
No,
right? They're all living their lives too. And so this tempo is high for everybody. And so I don't know, man. I think that it's a great use. And I think that a lot of these soldiers are probably pretty jazzed to get activated because when you sign up, you wait for that call.
Right. And certainly who would have guessed this would be one of the calls coming? For a lot of people out there who probably don't know that Guard component is paid through state funds. And a vast majority of those funds do come from the federal government. But that's why the governor can deploy their troops in each of those states under a Title 32 order. I might be wrong.
So, yeah, I believe so.
I think it's Title 32 because Title 10 is federal. And so that unit can be mobilized in different ways and utilized. And so, if the governor chose not to, that doesn't mean that Trump can't.
Yeah, right.
The whole idea that, oh, no, Newsom said no, you're not paying for it. This isn't, this isn't your little, this is not your army. This army, this military is the United States military. Doesn't matter what shield you're wearing or crest or tab. At the end of the day, you are usable by who's ever sitting in the big house.
Yeah.
For how they want it to be used.
And I think that all these people that are all up in arms should be pretty thankful that the Guard soldiers are being pretty chill. Like their ROE must be pretty fucking strict.
Well, and I don't think
because they're getting spit on and all kinds of stuff.
And they're not. It's not like they're being sent there. We heard one of the other people we're going to talk about later. Betty, we comment.
Yeah.
We heard this talk about what they're going to do and how are you going to fund them, and they bring up all the wrong things. What they should be asking is what's the mission focus. And so from what I've read, and I could be wrong, mission focus will be, number one, to protect federal agents that are out there conducting their job, by what means are necessary. But number two, just like they did in Minneapolis, they will be there to protect federal buildings, other places of operation that they seem to, I'm sure, like the water treatments, all the seer, like true seer warfare stuff.
Yeah.
All those things will be protected by those people. It's not like they're going to be boots on ground walking through with seek and destroy orders. right? And that's how they want to
Hopefully
paint
not.
the picture. Hey, you know what? If that's what it comes to, I mean, if it didn't happen, if it didn't escalate to that point with what we saw in Minneapolis, I think we both know most assuredly they're not going to. They can't. They can't because there's not one person in the world. I mean, unless your life is threatened to a point where the threat needs to be quelled. But then I say, hey, man, you just put on the fuck around, find out hat.
Yeah.
Don't find out how far you can push these people. Like, who does that?
These people are
That's
gonna.
great. Hey, you know what? Then
They
Mean City,
get
pop
what
the
they
popcorn.
deserve. Yeah. But I think that part of the idea is that it hasn't been that long since all the bullshit in Minneapolis happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we now know, or they now know, the proverbial they now know how expensive it was, and they know how damaging it was to a community. I mean, like, downtown Minneapolis is pretty much a ghost town to the best of my knowledge. I mean, I don't go down there anymore, but I know people that do. Other than Friday or Saturday night, or if the Timberwolves are in the Western Conference Finals or WWE's in town, place is a ghost town.
It's changed, you know.
And so I would venture to guess that they're going to take if need be, they'll take the chains or the cuffs off of some of these military units so that doesn't happen again. Because now these people are so much more bold because everyone knows and watched what they got away with here.
Right.
And now they're getting away with the same or similar things in LA. And so if they want to step up a notch, well, I don't know, man. I seem to think that Marines who are sitting at 29 Palms, which is arguably the worst military installation in all of the U.S. military.
I would have to venture that to be a safe assumption.
And they're pissed. They're pissed to be there because it sucks. And it's hot as fuck. They're raking volleyball courts and painting rocks and all that other bullshit because training doesn't take all day every day.
Right. Does if you ask Betty.
And they're just looking for a mission. And they're looking for someone to fucking pick a fight. And I think that some of these protesters and rioters think that they're untouchable because, you know, I have my First Amendment rights. I don't know about that. You start spitting on Marines, they're going to lose their minds.
But I think if they are there acting in a very particular capacity, they're not going to push beyond what they need to push through to.
I hope so.
But I would say this. I would say for the people that are rioting, you should be so thankful that people that think like us have enough shit going on.
Yeah.
that there's not a counter because that's the day that's coming, right? And I think that's if we're truly looking at like why they let these things go this far, is because they want to polarize the opposite of their ideology to a point where you build that not risk the game, but you build that risk scenario where you finally get these two factions to coalesce and then just see what happens. I think that is one of their driving goals, is to see that.
Just to see the other side come out and show their ass also?
I don't think it's to show I think what that will do is that will create more division, because then you say, yeah, but look what the other side did. No, you just got fed up, right? If my neighbor was doing half of the shit that these people are doing in my backyard, you don't think I would go do the exact same thing in their backyard? It was a situation like turn the other cheek. No, I'm just, you do it to me, I'm going to do it to you.
But is it called for, right? And in a lot of cases, I think that maybe it would be, because how long are we, if we want to, in parentheses, the good side, if we want to call it that, how long are we supposed to let this happen to our communities? And how long are we supposed to let this shit go on? If everybody else that thinks other than we do can go out and burn stuff and hurt people and spit on cops and soldiers and just run around like they're like lawlessness, how long are we law-abiding citizens supposed to watch that happen before we finally say, well, this is fucking enough,
right? I'm
done with this. This is my community too. Clearly the powers that be have some restraints on the police, the law bringers, the ones that are supposed to preserve the rule of law. Well, clearly they're not able to do that effectively
because they keep doing
because
the
they're
same shit.
handcuffed.
They handcuff them.
And our soldiers, well, we can't just have them run the streets like it's Baghdad.
Handcuff them.
Got to
do the
handcuff
same
them.
shit.
So when is it? And if the narrative is, and what everyone is displaying is, well, I can go and I can organize in the middle of a street and I can start burning shit and tearing things down. And all the police are going to do is shoot some CS gas and tell us to get the hell out of here and go home. But I don't have to. Well, all right. So when is it going? It's essentially like a civil war, right?
Well, it'll be, civil
That side to
unrest.
this
You will
side.
finally motivate the masses against one another, which is, I truly believe that that's one of the forces that we're fighting against.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason that anybody that's in charge of anything, it would be like if you have kids and say you have a handful of kids, you've got 4 or 5 kids, and 2 of them, you let them pick on the other 3, but the other 3, you say you can't pick on the other 2.
Yeah.
That's what's happening all the time, right? Eventuality is the 3 are going to rise up and whoop the piss out of the 2. And that's what's going to happen. I mean, I'm not looking at age or anything else. It's just you got 1.5 people per people. And that's a fight you're never going to win. And so when you watch this, you have to say, are you truly letting people's voices be heard? Because who's being heard because you're torching cars? That you're cruising around on motorcycles with the Mexican flag? Nobody. So why do you let it keep going? It's not doing anybody any good. It's not going to keep any of the jumpers on this side of the border. Are you going to slow down ICE? Okay, cool. We only got 1,300 this week. But guess what? We're coming back next week.
Yep.
Right? We got 42 months of this left. Like, it's not going to slow down. Do you think right now you do this and also, whoa, my bad? No. 21 million.
It's a lot of people.
It's going to happen. So what's your rationale? You have to, what do you think? Why do you think they let it get this far?
Well, in my opinion, it always goes back to money, power, and control. I think that the other side lets all of this shit happen because they want voters. They want to stop this mass deportation.
Yep.
Because all those people are going to vote for the side that says no, those are they're our neighbors. They work hard and blah blah blah. Yeah, maybe some of them do. But to the best of my knowledge, most of the people that we see being deported have quite extensive criminal backgrounds, and they're raping kids. They're killing women.
They're not going through looking for everybody. This is first wave work. They're looking for the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, right? Like
that's what they said they were going to do. They're doing exactly what they said they were going to do.
Told you what they were going to do, and now they're doing it. But, there is a difference between, this whole, in Minnesota, we've got that neighborly thing that we have to listen to fucking balls talk about, right? Be neighborly. You know what? Being neighborly is in another fucking house.
Yeah.
Think about a country like your house. Yeah, cool. Neighbors. Mexico is a neighbor. Canada's a neighbor. I'll be neighborly to them. But they want to come here. They're in your house.
Yep. I've had neighbors I don't want in my house. I've had them before.
But that's not being neighborly, the shit that we do.
Yeah,
it's not being neighborly where you come in and you basically unhook your neighbor's hose and run it in to fill your pool.
Yeah. Or steal their cable. Yeah.
That's not neighborly. Hey, what's a Wi-Fi password?
Yeah, right.
Well, let's go fuck yourself.
I don't know.
I'll get into it anyway. Hey, you mind loaning me $50? I'm a little shy on groceries. No, that's not neighborly. So all of these ideas that we need to be so nice to these people that have number one, the first act they did, if they want to be called Americans, which are not, they're illegals, is they committed a felony.
Yep. The whole time you've been here, you've been
one
a felon.
step over the border, you're a felon. Congratulations for coming in on the right step. Like you're the person that I definitely want on my team, And I'm sure there are exceptions with good people that lived in terrible situations.
Yep. I agree.
But did they seek asylum? Did they come through the right way? This is a great place to be. Right now it's pretty sketchy. We kind of got a big deficit. Apparently we got to pay the spaceman to get out of it. And we're going to do it by not deploying the National Guard to let a riot happen and cause billions of dollars in damage. Well, you're not looking at the billions. Why do they never pay attention to that? They're worried about how much money it's going to cost to have these people on the ground.
Yeah.
We never talk about how much it costs to clean that shit up.
It'll be cheaper to have the soldiers there than it is to rebuild Los Angeles again.
Living left of bang. How weird a philosophy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I wonder, what do you think is, let's just say you're one of these rioters, right? And you're flying a Mexican flag and all these other things and screaming fuck ICE and all these other stuff. What do you think for these folks is the stopping point? Like, what do you think it's going to take if the government came out and said, okay, we got to end this madness. What is it that you want? What do you think that, I don't think that they don't have an answer to that.
They don't.
They just want anarchy.
Dude, they're fluoride heads. There's nothing there.
If the police went home and left them alone, like they're saying, do you think they're all just going to go home and get some sleep and get up tomorrow and go to work and contribute to the society in which they claim they're trying to save?
No, they'll be flicking shit on the wall in a different way tomorrow.
Absolutely.
They're not going anywhere.
Yeah. So,
well, then it'll be then it's the patriarchy that's got me, or it's this, or it's microaggressions. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Whatever happened to just doing your thing?
You do you.
Go do your thing. Go inside with people respectfully as you can. Like, I understand that there's some situations where you got to get loud and you got to, talk shit or whatever it is, but somebody has to put a stop to it. Before like we were saying, though, I think somebody's got to do it before the law-abiding citizens in this country all organize and get together and completely decimate all these fucking morons that probably aren't even Americans. They probably don't even really give a shit either way. They're probably sent in, like we found in Minneapolis. They're sent in from somewhere else just to cause problems because someone's sending them a couple $1,000 on Venmo.
Yeah. And you see they all have their face masks on. They hide. But I have one for you. What do you think? Like, so I'll say this, like, after mission or after you do anything cool with a group of buddies, like you have that discharge time where you sit around, you're like, man, today was crazy.
Yeah. The Monday morning quarterback session.
What do you think? Like, these fucktards, when these shit dumbs get together after a day of chucking scooters at cops.
Yeah. Getting hit in the nuts with 40 millimeter grenades.
Yeah. When they get back into that, what do you think that looks like? Do you think they actually get together? Like, as a group?
Oh, I'm sure they all get
together. You
think
they do?
I think so.
I don't know, man. I
not all of them collectively.
I know they don't all get together, but I'm saying like the small group of fucktards.
Yes, they absolutely. You see what we did, and then they go on to their friends. You should have seen it. Ty really destroyed that police car. It was fucking awesome, man.
And just
yes, they do it 1,000%. They do.
But think about how sad that really is.
Yeah.
Like, well, congratulations. You didn't do anything in the focus of your job, of the mission that you put upon yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do anything.
And they're all super tough. They're all super tough until they get put in handcuffs, and then they're crying. And I didn't mean it. I was just kidding. And this
got away from me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just asinine.
I was just trying to put that scooter back in the police car.
Dumb.
Through the windshield. No, man, it's odd. Part of me feels for them. They have their compass so fucked up to what's important that this is the extent they want to go to. This is the hill that they want to mount the charge on. I mean, just part of me just feels sorrow for them.
And when all of this is over, bro, they're going to still be the first people to call the cops when someone steals their car, is breaking in their home, or is whatever. Your leaves are in my yard. I'm calling the fucking cops. Okay. But it was 2 months ago, you were throwing scooters at them. So don't be surprised if they don't show up to your house.
Yeah, right. Or they'll be the ones picking on those National Guard guys. And then they're going to realize that these are dudes like from our hood, from the neighborhood. from
You
the
probably
city.
know somebody
They
there.
probably know somebody. And a couple months down the road, there's a weird knock at like 2:00 in the morning. And there's those two hunyucks
Yeah.
that you spit on, you were talking shit to. First thing they're going to be doing. Ding, ding, ding. And I mean, that's the, there's no point on that ramp where it turns into a positive avenue. Right. So it's a ramp into the shit pit. And then you get back onto another ramp and you go down into urine pit. And then you make another left turn and you come into just body goo pit. Like nothing good's going to happen. Nothing. Nobody is going to be here for a longer period of time than maybe a couple of days because of all this. Period.
And then for what? Right? Because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop cleaning out illegals. They're not going to stop trying to restore law and order to the community. The good guys are not going to stop.
No, only bad guys don't want cops.
Right. Until they need them.
Right.
Until they need them, they don't want them.
But I've never once been like, oh man, this place had less cops.
Yeah.
I don't interact with them. It's really not an issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, every now and then, if there's one behind me in line at the coffee shop or somewhere, I'll buy his cup of coffee, right? Because I appreciate what you're doing.
And that's just I'm just saying like an interaction with them professionally.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, fine. I get caught speeding or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, hey,
I know I was doing it.
Hey, you got me.
Yeah.
Right. The one time I went 57 and a 55. You got the tape.
I guess you get my $200. I'll donate $200 to the cause. Well, speaking of Minnesota, since we are here in Minnesota,
I love it. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Did you get a load of Betty McCollum?
Well, yes.
Grilling Pete Hegseth about what all of this deployment of troops was going to cost and what training events are they missing out on that could be better use of their time. And to be fair, this whole hearing was about budget and like the DOD budget and all this other stuff.
It was. But the framework to her question was incendiary on the front end.
Yep.
Wrapped in with two simple questions, right? So it's the same old bullshit. What I want to see, Betty, one time, I want to see you ask a question where you're not reading from a piece of paper. I want to see what thought you truly form in your head.
I'd like to see most politicians ask a question that's not on paper.
Well, Betty's number one. She represents us.
Yeah.
So I want to see, and you know what? Betty, you've been doing this long.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that you're actually doing anything that you want to do. I think they're told what to do, or it's written out for them what to say.
They have a handler or something?
There's clearly something there, so they don't say anything that's wrong, and that they, with their time in front of the camera, that they get a chance to take all the punches for free that they want to. When you watch these Senate hearings, it's kind of a joke, and it's a joke both ways. There's no question about it. Nothing truly good happens at the end of them, right? Because it's not whatever's happening is going to happen. Great. I'm very happy that you got to grandstand and you got to talk to Pete because he's a Minnesotan like you are. And then you're going to wrap it up at the end. How much training are they going to miss and how much is this going to cost? That was your question. That should have been your question, not all this other shit. And then when you try to cut the guy off from answering the question, and in answering the question, he touches on all of these incendiary points that you brought up and you get mad at him for it.
Yep.
Betty, if you're going to bring it up, listen to it. Because if the tables ever do finally get turned where your constituents have questions for you, you never answer them.
That's right.
You do the same thing. You have canned response answers at the ready that don't fit anything that people are asking you about. And you're representing everybody. And so maybe in our area, it's a 60-40. People more heavily leaning towards her ideology. But at the end of the day, you're representing everybody. Now, if you're making the right call, even if I don't like the direction or what it is, I will concede that point. I have never once seen this person do that.
No.
Even when things turn out lovely and well. Well, could have been done different.
Of course.
Yeah, but you didn't. Sorry, nobody wanted to hear your 34 years in politics answer to how to build a road. You shit dumb. You want to sit here and talk about DOD budget when in the last 4 years, what has gone on? Nonsense. Was she ever asking about the budget then?
Nope.
Oh, well, it wasn't a problem then.
Right.
Where did the money get spent then? Well, you're worried about the 700 Marines and how many guardsmen?
2,000, I think.
2,000, Betty.
2,700 troops.
How many billions of dollars do we give to the Ukraine?
Oh man, don't even get me down.
No,
that
I'm
road.
just using it. What was it? 250 to 300?
That's what they told us.
So somewhere, well, let's use low. Let's use a conservative figure. Let's just go down to 200 billion. Well, Betty, it's going to be vastly less than that. Right? Vastly less. Let's not worry about it. And they can make up that training on another weekend.
I would say that this is good training.
No, but what the fuck is she talking about? Like, you're going to waste your time fucking train. No, you're going to do the job. You don't have to fucking train when you're doing the work.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
hey, Richie, if I send you over to a job site and say, climb the fucking ladder, and you can climb the ladder, do we got to work on training fucking climbing the ladder?
No.
No, you just fucking did it. So congratulations. You got some free training.
Yeah, Betty, you're getting free work out of these soldiers, so shut the hell up.
Right? Well, they took off how many hours of all the DEI training and all the other nonsense these guys had to endure. Like, I think I would rather be deployed than be stuck on a drill weekend.
Absolutely.
Learning about whatever stuff they're training or they have previously been training for and had to talk about and had to have all these bullshit. Could you imagine the PowerPoints?
My God, bro. If I never see another PowerPoint again, I will be absolutely fine with that.
Betty, I think these guys will be high-fiving you that they got cut out on that training.
Yeah,
like, I don't think there's going to be a wet eye on the
You might have got a couple voters out of this group for letting them miss training. 100%. Even though they think you're an idiot. Hey, we didn't have to do PowerPoints. Let's vote for her.
Right.
I can completely see it.
Again, I mean, it's just like the rioters. Like our government is no different than these rioters. It's grandstanding, it's nonsense, and then the people that are actually doing shit, everybody gets mad at. Like, Trump can't do these things because a federal judge told him not to. Biden got told not to pay off people's student loans by the Supreme Court. You know what he did?
Still did.
Cut some checks. Where were you on that one, Betty? Where were you trying to catch all the fraud, waste, and abuse?
Oh, but she's got a lot of constituents with a lot of school debt, so she left that one alone.
Thank God I didn't have to pay for high school.
And just to be clear, all clarity, Jason said that she represents us, and we live in her district. I live in Betty McCollum's district. She is my representative, and she's shitty. Shitty, shitty, shitty. And in fact, when and if she runs again, we should go to her town hall.
I think that would be a wonderful idea, my friend.
And ask a real question. And maybe one of those questions is, can you ask any questions that aren't written on a piece of paper?
Do you have the capacity to read with your eyes or to speak with your eyes?
Yeah.
On a 90-degree perpendicular.
Yeah. I mean, for whatever reason, sometimes I get sucked into watching these committee hearings and stuff because I just got to hear what the next idiot's going to ask the person testifying. And I don't know, bro, that I've ever seen, maybe once or twice, an elected official question a person testifying and not have, like, it's all the staffers that are writing this shit. You know who's probably the best at it, in my opinion, is Senator Kennedy.
He's great.
I mean, he'll get facts off the paper, but every question is not written down on paper. It seems, anyway.
Well, and no, I think he's probably much better at it than most because he's got an ability when he cracks an answer and there's like a fractionalized chunk that doesn't make sense, he follows it.
Yeah,
it's not all just gotcha nonsense. That's why when you do see him on iFunny, I'm like, man, how many questions did he ask to get here?
I can't tell you how many Senator Kennedy videos I've watched on YouTube and TikTok and Twitter. Whenever he shows up on the screen, I pause and watch it. I think he's great. And his questions and the things that he says and asks these people, they all make complete sense 98% of the time. And the 2% that doesn't is because I don't understand the topic fully.
Right. Or he's throwing some hilarious over the top joke
Yeah.
that came from another line of questioning earlier, and you're like, where the fuck is this coming from?
And I think they all love him there. The people on his side, I would imagine.
Well, I would say, I mean, that's a thing, right? Like, we talked about it before too. This rioting, is it disingenuous? Are you truly that committed to the cause to be here to do this?
Absolutely not.
What drives you? What makes you believe that something good is going to come of it? And then truly, when these politicians are grilling other political foes or members of the opposing group, how disingenuous are your questions? Because you could have been asking those questions of yourself this entire time. And so I do it. The photo op, is that really going to get you elected again? Oh, look what I did to Pete Hegseth. Great.
Well, the answer to that is, yeah, they do believe that. They do believe that these types of things are what they're going to make little commercials out of and what they're going to put on their social media. And that's what's going to gain them followers.
Right? Because it's the fluoride heads. Only pay attention to the top like 3% of things that you see. You don't do any diligence or research. Like the name recognition thing in politics is what is absolutely striking to me. People will vote just on the basis of seeing a name that's familiar. And if you see somebody run multiple times, because I think they say if you run 4 or 5 campaigns, you automatically will basically get the job. If you will spend the money, the time in the trenches where people see that yard sign, they see the posters, they see all that stuff, eventually they just come to believe that you're actually the one that was in office, and they just vote for you. I mean, lemmings.
Oh yeah, because they just don't. They go vote and they never pay attention again.
Right. So you throw a couple of gotchas out there and maybe you go viral with a video. I mean, you might be very new to politics, but people have seen you coming across TikTok like, oh yeah, that's old hat. They've been on the old guard. That's the one I want to keep in.
Well, so that brings up a good point, bro, because maybe that's how we can get you into office.
There's not a chance. No, nada, zero, done. No.
I mean, I'll help you run a campaign.
No, I don't want any part of that.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first.
No.
Elected appointed positions for Jason.
No. No.
Although I think you'd be great. I think you'd be a great politician because your bullshit meter is pretty sensitive.
But that's the worst place to be. I mean, we have politicians who are friends who have retired. And the thing that they've said that has driven them out, and these were good people, is the fact that they could no longer have conversations across the board. Because it's, if you're a person that believes you're going to convince somebody with intellect that you're right, try convincing somebody who has low intellect that you're right.
Yeah. I think that both ways, in like extreme cases like we're talking about today, I don't know that you're going to convince anybody with or without intellect. I think that some of these people are going to have to, like the guy that was on the news last night that he literally got shot in the nuts with a CS 40 millimeter CS canister.
No way.
He was standing in the street and they were launching gas. That sumbitch skipped off the ground and nailed him you couldn't even see it in slow motion.
Smoked beans.
Just smoked him. He learned. Like, you're not going to convince that guy by talking to him on the sidewalk. Hey man, you shouldn't really be doing this. This is stupid. Right. He had to go out there, show his ass and make a fool of himself in the middle of the street with a gas mask on, thinking that he was big and bad. And this 40 millimeter CS canister smokes him in the huevos. Yep. And he went home. I'm guessing, hopefully he would just, all right, this is enough of this bullshit.
Thing checked out.
Yeah. Or don't. I mean, you probably shouldn't procreate anyway, you piece of shit. So it's okay. Sorry.
No, it's supposed to look like a grapefruit. No, let that thing ride. Starts to smell gangrenous. Then go in, but not until.
If you had to guess, what do you think the end state to this thing is going to look like?
We're the 10th.
What's that?
It's the 10th today.
It is the 10th today.
I would say the crescendo is this weekend, and by the middle of next week, they're on to the next thing.
What do you think the next thing is?
I don't know.
Are you excited for the party?
If the party were to come,
have you heard the rumors about the party?
I've seen things on the funny of eye, but why don't you tell me what the party is?
Well, so what I've read, and I will openly say I'm not sure if it's a reliable source, but it's in multiple places. So I don't know if these are reliable sources, but the scuttlebutt is that on the president's birthday, we're going to have a big celebration with 7,000 soldiers, Abrams tanks, other military vehicles. The president allegedly has said that he wants to celebrate the military on his birthday, which is, I believe, June 14th.
Okay. This year?
This year.
Okay.
And, well, yeah, because this is 250 years of, right? Isn't it America's 250th birthday? It's probably really...
No, that's next year, 1776.
Okay.
So that'd be 2026.
Okay,
that's the big 250 celebration.
Okay, so maybe this is why it's unreliable information.
Okay.
Because one thing that I read, one outlet that I read from, said that the president's birthday, the year of the America's 250th anniversary, so it'd be next year. We're going to roll in all this military equipment, all these soldiers, all these people, and after the parade and the celebration, the soldiers and the equipment are not leaving. There will be martial law, and the president and whatever law enforcement agencies and the military are going to sweep up and clear the swamp. And allegedly, they have all the evidence that they need to build cases against whoever, and that's just going to happen that day. Now, I don't know if it's true. A part of me hopes that it's true. I think that our system could probably benefit from just being cleared out.
That needs a good flush.
Yeah. And maybe that doesn't mean every elected official. But if there's 50 to 80 of them that all go to jail or get dismissed because they've been complicit in some bullshit, well, then we have special elections and we get new people in there. But yeah. I don't know if that's true. That's conspiracy, rumor mill. Maybe the Y-Files will do a story on that.
No, I'm not going to say that sounds glorious in all of its regalia, but I think as far as the riots are concerned this year, I think LA will calm. It's either going to calm down and then erupt elsewhere. And it's what they did in Minneapolis, right? Like they're using the same. That's the coolest part about this bullshittery, is that it might not be the same song, but it certainly rhymes. And so it's going to be the same way. Now they got Minneapolis to catch fire pretty quickly. Like that just spun up. And it could, but I think when you have the threat of people there to stop it, I think what Washington has decided to do is to ensure that it can't rise to that point to create that situation again. And so that's what I'm saying. But then what's next? Because it doesn't matter. They just, run from fake fire to fake fire, So.
Yeah. Well, then there's also some talk about like this weekend, I think it is, this coming weekend. Like there's this big organization of people going to get together and start protesting and causing trouble in Chicago. I'm sure Portland will probably spin up again. Seattle will become a shithole again.
Hold on. Become? It will stay. It will be highlighted with more shitholeness.
Well, I hope the fish market is still all right, because that place was cool, actually. But other than that, yeah, it's a shithole. But who knows? All these places could just blow up again. And there's a great chance that it turns into like a war on transgender now. And like they're going to bring this into it. And BLM will come back, and MLN, Mexican Lives Matter, will come back, and all this other bullshit. All because we're trying to make the place safer for American people. And what really bothers me about the whole thing, man, is that there isn't, well, I shouldn't say there isn't one other country, because I think England's getting just decimated right now by.
I would not
people.
go there. I know you get to.
Me neither.
But no,
I'm not. I went to London last year. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever need to go back.
I don't think it was the London that people got to go to 10, 15 years ago.
Absolutely not. I mean, some of it was pretty cool. We got to see some cool old stuff, but other than that, I'm good. But the whole world may start on fire again, just because we're trying to clean up 21 million people that broke the law to come in this country. And for what? Right? Like, who in their right minds, elected official, civilian, military member, anybody, who in their right minds thinks that as a country, as a culture, we can support all of this anyway? So, like, not just that they broke the law to be here and that all this stuff is going down, but at what point does our government have to say, well, hold on, we can't print any more money, we're out of paper, we can't build any more free shit for people, we can't grow all this food for free for people? Like, who thinks that this is sustainable?
And not one of them. I mean, there's certain economists that have taught this in colleges, that this is the endless money supply, and that you can continually do this. That I think at some point when we do a great regular guy podcast and we talk about finance and truly how that apparatus rolls out, I think that's going to be eye-opening to a lot of people. But for people in office to continually push for this, and then for people to vote those people in, basically saying, yeah, take more of my money. Like, if you have this lust for government to do these great things, show me a handful or maybe two things that they've done well or better than the private sector. Right? There's a reason contractors and people in business love government contracts, because they're fat and wasteful. Yeah. They have high profit margins, but there's a high threshold to get there. So only a promised few get a chance at that belt. But once you're in it, you're just sitting there collecting money, right?
Yep.
But that's the same government that's going to take care of all these other people,
right?
How many millions of dollars in Minnesota have we spent? And today, no more healthcare for illegals in Minnesota.
No kidding.
I saw that did happen.
Whoa.
Which
that's a surprise.
Which is a surprise, but there ultimately has come a point where they realize that the rank and file will be done. You can only pilfer so much from the people that have to give to those that have not. And I'm not saying people that have is in affluent millionaires, billionaire class. I'm talking about the rank and file people, because all this bullshit, the way that they try to, say that if millionaires were taxed at a higher percentage, you would get that. No, there's a reason. You can go to what's a very expensive store that you like to go to buy watches, or a very expensive piece of clothing.
Nordstrom, I guess.
Okay. Don't even know what Nordstrom is. Just,
it's like a fancier Macy's.
So an upscale
Neiman
boutique.
Marcus.
We'll say it's an upscale boutique where I can spend $1,500 on a pair of jeans, right?
Yep.
They only sell a few pairs of those jeans at $1,500. Like, they don't get a ton of money. That's trying to get money from the millionaires. Walmart sells 1 million jeans a week, right? That
$25.
is center mass. That is where government makes its money, in the tax basis. So don't sit there and believe anyone who tells you that it's the millionaires and the billionaires and those big government. And believe you me, I think businesses should be taxed at a higher rate too, but we're the ones carrying that. Middle America and lower middle class America bear the brunt of that. The upper middle class can afford great attorneys and tax advisors who put them in a place to ensure that the money that they do earn stays with them, because it's an expensive proposition to keep your money. And when you have extra money, you can do so. If you are ever afforded that luxury, by God, hey, if you went out there and you earned it, that's the loophole. You can call it a loophole. It's not a loophole. You worked for it. You have the resources. Hey, hats off to you. I wish the game were leveled a little more fairly towards, us lower income earners, but sorry, that's the situation we have. But then that's the hard spot. And now when people think that, oh yeah, well, if you get the money, you're not going to fucking make it up on the boutique bullshit. They make all the fucking money through the center at low income people. And then they think they get this refund because it's extra money. And those are the ultra low income people.
I mean, the government is always super supportive of middle class and low income people, right? They want to build them up. We want to build up these people. Of course they want to, because that's where the government makes all of their money.
Yeah, well, dude, it's
from you and me and the guy that lives in the Section 8 housing down the road, who's buying geedonks at the gas station twice a day for $25. Well, $25 twice a day times 5 years is a nice little chunk of change. And times that by how many billions of people or millions of people are doing that every day.
Right. And then they talk about, like they want to do all these things to keep you healthy. And in Minnesota, we had these huge class action lawsuits against Philip Morris, and we're going to drive up that tax basis on cigarettes. So again, typically who are the people that smoke? Low and middle class people. Disproportionately.
Which people are doing coke.
Right? Well, I'll burn a fucking heater and go fucking hit it.
I can do MDMA. Why would I have a cigarette?
I'll go rip one off the back of my beautiful gold toilet. Like, I'm not sitting there huffing down a menthol, you fucking idiots.
Mm-hmm.
But here they sit thinking, well, I don't pay those taxes. Bro, you're paying twice the tax.
Yeah.
That you think you are. And it's in Minnesota, it's striking because we have the opportunity to go to other states around us that don't have those taxes. And so if you think about every pack of squares or cubes that goes out of that store, $4, $5, $4, $5, every case of beer that's being swilled down, you don't think cigarettes and alcohol kill more people and all this other bullshit they're worried about? You're wrong. So where does it go? Oh, we want everybody to be safe. You have to pay extra gas tax. So we make sure that these automobile manufacturers keep the fucking airbags and the seatbelts. Like, bitch, if I had the option of not having seatbelts and airbags, like I would click that box. Like, motherfucker, you wouldn't have a car to sell. Be like, hey, no, man, they don't even put seatbelts in that shit. You don't need to spend any more money on it and tax it, collect it, and do all this other shit. They always are fucked up, and it's the poor people that get fucked, and nobody pays attention to it. They walk into that. They got that big stiff dick of the government coming at them, and they got their pants down with butter ass. Give it to me.
Well, and I've never heard butter ass before. Thank you for that.
Butter ass, man.
I love that.
It's a Jones Plantation. If you get a chance, you should watch it. It's the illusion that you're not, or you have an illusion of choice.
Well, and so the government makes this okay for these people that we're talking about, because then they just make them dependent on government programs, welfare and WIC and
a lifestyle, man. Lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, but that is the lifestyle.
That's what I'm saying. They drive you into the lifestyle, and then you live the lifestyle. I mean, if literally, and this, this is, I don't smoke anymore, but man, when I smoked, that was my reprieve.
Yeah.
That was I finally got to pop that thing and relax and sit down and have a case of beer over the weekend and all. And I'm thinking about, I'm like, yeah, man, I really got this shit figured out. What the fuck? I worked for 2 weeks and I'm like celebrating because I could finally relax with my $20 in my bank account, until Monday comes around and smacks my shit with reality that I got to go grind this next 2 weeks to get to that next pack of cigarettes, that next case of beer, that next endorphin run that I can't get from anywhere else because I'm so fucking stuck in the slavery that is my new life, and you never get out of it.
Just think how much better lives for people all across the board could be. I mean, because let's face it, man, these folks work very hard.
Yep.
They work very hard for the things they have, and they're still in this lifestyle. Think about how great their lives for a lot of people could be if they just had to work at the same level, just as hard as they are now, but didn't get stuck in this vicious cycle of poverty.
What is, right?
That the government keeps you dependent on.
Yeah. They have some really cool things out there that kind of and we don't even think of them as control measures, because you're not being told to necessarily do anything, but I'll just limit all the choices that you have.
Yeah.
And then I'll make these things available that probably shouldn't be available to you.
And if you want to live better, these are the things you got to do.
Right.
But it still doesn't get you out of the cycle.
No. And you continually hear, I mean, there's certain races in this country that come here and they don't get married, but they're families and they have kids. And the rationale is if they're single mothers, they get free health care and they get these things. As much as I appreciate the hustle and grind, like, man, that's what we need to spend our fucking money on, going after people that are taking advantage of the system. It's not that single mother with 2 kids who left a horrible situation where her husband was whooping the piss out of her. She doesn't need to go underneath that microscope to get help in my book. She's in a situation, she gets there, she gets help, she gets a chance to launch forward, and I guarantee that person launches out of that situation better than anybody that's cradled in it.
And feeling empowered about it.
Feeling empowered, because that's one thing. Like, nobody wants to feel like the government is the only reason that I can live the life that I'm living. And 90% of those people are living a life they don't want. But they're stuck in the suck. So you go after those that take advantage of the system, and you know it. You give them an opportunity to come clean. Like, listen, we're not coming at you, but if you are willing to do the right thing and step onto the game and play it level, we'd love to have you. If you don't, we're coming, and we're going to shut it down, because that's money that can be better spent and allocated to the people that really need it. Because that is the other fucking problem we have in this country, is we fuck the people that really can't help themselves, and we enabled those that could.
Yeah, and it's really sad, because the people that can't help themselves probably could do a great job at helping themselves if they just had a little positive push that was really a positive push and not something to keep them in the lifestyle they're in. And it's a vicious cycle, and I think people just get lost in the sauce, right? And it's unfortunate, but I think we started on riots and we got to
we may as well just put this
policy.
end. We may as well just put the end on this thing. This thing needs to be broken into a few videos, so don't think this one's easy.
Well,
good luck to you.
It's good. No, I think we're gonna do one big one, and then we'll chop it up later.
Call it fucking over the or through the looking glass.
Well, I don't know what we're going to call it. We'll figure it out. Final thoughts, Jason. My final question to you to wrap up today's interaction is, do you think by this time next year that we will be in a better position with every, like, just think about all the polarizing shit that's going on right now and all the things that's happening? Do you think that as a country we'll be in a better position, the same, or do you think that we're going to regress?
I think we'll be in a better position, but I think it's going to look worse while it's getting better. And so naysayers will have ample opportunity to talk about the things that are bad. It's like when you remodel a house. And I think what we're going through is a remodeling of sorts. And it's going to be a clunky, cluttered mess. The midterm elections will certainly shake some things up, and maybe you won't get the master suite or whatever they call it now, exactly the way that somebody wanted it. But ultimately, I think when the whole thing gets put together, you will in 12 months see a drastic improvement in the direction and people's sentiment in this country, period. Even those that probably don't like the things that are going on right now, because I think we'll clean up the tariff issues. Obviously, this civil unrest shit's just never going to go away because politicians got a politic. So that's my gut, I
really hope that we're not still having riots and shit in a year. But I think you're right. There's always going to be some level of, because now we've gone too far to turn back, right? Like, Minneapolis was what kicked all of that off. And now people know, unless there's a drastic change in the way that we police the streets and that we hold people accountable and all those things, which maybe can be done in a year's time. But I hope that you're right. I hope we're in a lot better position and situation. I don't think that we'll get worse. I think we're either going to be in a similar situation or it'll be on the come up. And so I guess all we can do is kind of sit back and keep watching. And furthermore, keep tuning in, right? So if you haven't, and I have been really bad about doing this, Jason, I need you to remind me at times. If you like what we're doing here, please consider leaving us a like and a follow and a subscribe and all that stuff, depending on which platform you're seeing this. It really helps us to grow the platform and grow the things that we're trying to do, both here with 3 Clicks Media and with our nonprofit Bettertainment. And so there's a lot of cool things coming, but something as helpful as a like and subscribe goes a long way. So we would really appreciate that. Jason, anything else? All right. Do you feel better?
No.
No?
Well, kind of, man. But, it kind of always gets back to that thing where, once you realize what your time on planet Earth is going to be, you can pay attention to this stuff going on, but it's not going to affect you. And I would hope for people out there, you find that thing for you. I know what it is for me. And that's what makes this fun, because we can get excited about talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's very important, and it's also very unimportant.
I see both ways. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Have a good night or day or morning or afternoon. Bye.